There is a specific feeling that hits right in the middle of a scroll. You are not even looking for anything, you are just passing time. And then you see it. Someone your age just launched something. Someone you went to school with is traveling somewhere that looks like a dream. Someone who started exactly where you started is clearly somewhere further ahead. And for a moment, just a moment, your own life feels smaller than it did 30 seconds ago. Not dramatically, just slightly. Just enough to leave a mark. And then you keep scrolling. And it happens again and again. And by the time you put the phone down, you cannot point to one specific thing that made you feel this way. But the feeling is there. A low, quiet sense that you are behind. That everyone else figured something out that you have not. That your life, which felt fine an hour ago, is somehow not enough. That feeling is not weakness. That feeling is not immaturity. That feeling is not a sign that something is wrong with you specifically. That feeling is the result of a very specific psychological mechanism that your brain runs automatically, constantly, and almost entirely without your awareness. And once you understand what it actually is, not just that it exists, but exactly how it works and why it is so difficult to stop, it begins to lose most of its power over you. That is what this video is about. In 1954, a social psychologist named Leon Festinger published a theory that would become one of the most replicated findings in all of psychology. He called it social comparison theory. The core idea is deceptively simple. Humans do not evaluate their own lives in absolute terms. We evaluate them relationally. We do not ask, is my life good? We ask, is my life good compared to theirs? This is not a flaw in human psychology. It is a feature. It is a tool that evolution built into us over hundreds of thousands of years for a very specific purpose. For most of human history, social comparison was one of the most useful cognitive tools available. It told you whether you were falling behind in ways that had real consequences, whether your skills, your resources, your standing within the group were sufficient for survival. It kept people calibrated to what was real and what was actually possible in their environment. The problem is that the environment has changed in a way that Festinger could never have anticipated. For most of human history, you compared yourself to the people physically around you, your neighbors, your co-workers, the people in your community whose lives you could see with some degree of accuracy. A comparison pool of maybe 100 to 200 people, most of whom you knew well enough to see beyond their best moments. Now your comparison pool is infinite, and it is not random, it is curated by a machine. Every platform you use runs an algorithm whose primary objective is to show you the content most likely to hold your attention for as long as possible. And what holds human attention most reliably is not the average, it is not the ordinary, it is the exceptional. The most beautiful version of someone's vacation, the most impressive version of someone's achievement, the most confident, most successful, most aspirational version of someone's life. You are not scrolling through a random sample of human experience. You are scrolling through a highlight reel assembled by software that has studied human psychology at massive scale and knows exactly which images and stories will make you stop and look. And your brain, running social comparison theory automatically in the background, doing what it has been doing for 100,000 years, is treating every single one of those highlights as if it represents someone's full reality. It does not. But the brain does not know that. It was not built for this environment. It just sees the data, and the data says they are ahead of you. Psychologists call this the highlight reel effect. And the damage it does is not just to your mood in the moment you feel it. It reshapes, slowly and consistently, what you believe is normal, what you believe is achievable for someone like you, what you believe you should have done or built or become by now. When you are exposed to exceptional outcomes repeatedly, when your daily feed is populated with people at the top of their fields, people whose best moments are constantly visible, people who appear to have every area of their life working simultaneously, your internal baseline for what counts as adequate quietly shifts upward. And your own real, textured, genuinely good life starts to look like a problem to be solved rather than something to be lived. Here is the part that makes this particularly costly. Social comparison does not just make you feel inadequate in the moment, It steals your attention from the life you are actually living. When you are in comparison mode, you are not evaluating your actual life against their actual life. You are evaluating a fictional version of your life against a fictional version of theirs. Because you are not seeing all of it. You are not seeing the anxiety that existed in the background of that launch. You are not seeing the relationship that is quietly falling apart while the travel photos go up. You are not seeing the debt that funded the lifestyle, the doubt that follows the confidence, the 2 a.m. moments where the person whose life looks so clean and certain feels exactly as uncertain and lost as you do right now. You are seeing one carefully selected frame from a story you do not have full access to, and you are writing a comparison that includes your entire story. The mess, the setbacks, the unfinished chapters, the private failures, against one frame of theirs. That is not a fair comparison. It is not even a real one. It is a comparison between your behind-the-scenes footage and their theatrical trailer. And your brain is running that comparison as if it means something. Now here's what I want to be honest about. Understanding all of this does not make the feeling stop. Knowing the mechanism does not deactivate it. The comparison still fires. The scroll still produces that moment of your life suddenly feeling smaller. That is going to happen because the brain is doing what it was built to do in an environment it was not built for. But what understanding the mechanism gives you is something valuable. It gives you a second response, a step you can take in the moment after the feeling arrives. And that step is simple. When you feel the comparison hit, when the feed produces that quiet contraction in your chest, ask one question before you do anything else. What am I actually seeing here? Not what does this make me feel? Not what does this mean about where I am? What am I actually seeing? One frame, one curated moment, one version of one person's life that passed through an algorithm before it reached you. That is the entirety of what you have access to, and it is nowhere near enough information to draw any meaningful conclusion about where you stand, where you should be, or how far behind you actually are. The second shift is about who you are comparing yourself to at all. Festinger identified 2 directions. Social comparison tends to move. Upward comparison, looking at people who appear further ahead, which typically produces envy, inadequacy, and the sense of being behind. Downward comparison, looking at people who appear to be struggling more than you, which produces temporary relief but no real direction. Neither of these is particularly useful as a daily practice. What is useful, and what research consistently identifies as the comparison that actually produces growth rather than just feeling, is temporal comparison. Comparing yourself not to them, but to who you were, not who they are now. Who you were 6 months ago, a year ago, 3 years ago. That comparison is grounded in something real. Data you have full and accurate access to. A record that shows you the actual distance you have traveled, the real changes you have made, the genuine progress that social media will never show you because there is no highlight reel for quiet, daily, unglamorous growth. For most people who have been genuinely trying, who have been doing the work, making the changes, showing up even when there was no audience and no validation, that comparison produces something that no feed ever will. Evidence, real, personal, specific evidence that you are moving. Not at the pace the algorithm implies you should be, but moving, consistently, in a direction that actually belongs to you. The highlight reel is not lying exactly. It is just showing you one angle of a very complicated picture and letting your brain fill in the rest. And what your brain fills in is almost always more complete and more flattering than the reality. You are not behind. You are comparing your whole story to someone else's best chapter. And those are not the same thing. Start comparing yourself to who you were. That is the only comparison that tells you anything true, and I am rooting for you, even from afar.